Okay, Andrew. Good evening. Welcome to our November 12th Commission on Disabilities meeting. Please stand for the salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Fernie, can you today please do a roll call of the members, please?
Roll call for November 12, 2019. Robert Bent.
Here.
Albert Sheridan.
Here.
Pauline Perno.
Present.
Michelle DeBellis. Absent. Enza Goodwin. Absent. Chairperson Ralph DeChico.
Present.
And Rick Fernie present. All said, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Item 1 is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 8th, 2019. Everyone should have received that via their email so that they could have the time to go over it if there was any discrepancies. There was just one discrepancy on the original one that you had sent me, Rick, who was absent, and I corrected it, and it was fine with the email that I sent everybody. So the minutes should be fine. So if anybody wants to make a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Fine. Okay. A second on the agenda is item 2, was the CODA Commission on Disabilities Alliance monthly conference call meeting that was on Wednesday, November 6th. What this call was in regards to the follow-up on the open position for the head of the AAB. CODA had gathered members had gathering members in traction and trying to keep the state to not hire a director who would not have the best interest and knowledge in regards to disability rights when variances are brought before them. CODA is in the beginning stages looking for people who would be willing to help with this endeavor. More information about that is going to be following at next month's CODA conference call, so I just wanted to keep everybody up on date on that. So basically what they are trying to, what CODA is trying to do is stop from the state from putting someone in charge of that position who doesn't have any knowledge of disability or a disabled person themselves, and try and make it a bureaucratic position, which the state is trying to do. And they're trying to put it into a different agency. Right now they have William Joyce is acting in charge of the AAB. He's been a member of the AAB, he's disabled himself. And I believe he is part of the interviewing process. And what could happen is if he was to be put in that capacity as a permanent role, but if it goes into a different type of an agency instead of staying separate, the AAB, his position could be terminated. So that's why CODA is behind trying to try and spearhead stopping that from happening. If anybody would like to look some more information on it, on CODA, there's a disability consortium that I have the website that will get some more information on it instead of me trying to give it secondhand to you. And I could also give you the email address for Colin, who is from the Disability Consortium, who is spearheading it. So there is a big move on trying to get that done. Next is item 3. Usually Enza will do the scheduled November events that we have, and one, I believe, upcoming event in December that you wanted to get out there. Mr. Vice Chair, would you be willing to read item 3 for us?
Yeah, very happy to. Schedule November events and upcoming events. This is for CPAC, the Special Education Parent Advisory Council. Event was on November 4th. CPAC invited parents and guardians to a free basic rights workshop hosted by the Federation for Children with Special Needs. This was a great opportunity to gain information about the IEP process and work with the Federation in the past. My kids young there, that's a wonderful group. Get a whole lot of information from them, so that was wonderful. They were able to attend the meeting. December 14th, CPAC is hosting its annual holiday party on Saturday, December 14th, from 2:30 to 4 p.m. at the Garfield Community School. Children and their families will enjoy games, music, bounce house, and a special visit from Santa. Snack and water donations are always helpful. Please consider donating or volunteering for this special event. You can contact anyone at CPAC or reach out to the Disabilities. You send us an email and we'll make sure it gets over to Enza Goodwin or Michelle DeBellis. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Item 4 is the self-evaluation plan and transition plan for the municipal buildings update for the city of Revere. Just wanted to update you that I do have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow with different department heads in the mayor's office so that we can finalize the transition plan and get that sent over to the state. It is done, but we have just a draft from the consulting firm that did it. So we just want to make sure we have all our I's are dotted and all our T's are crossed to make sure that we have everything in order before we send it over to the state. So the transition plan is basically all set, and so that we can have that filed with the state, and we will be in full compliance of having that on record for the city of Revere. So I just wanted to update everyone on that. So if anyone had any questions on that, I should be able to have that to you for the next meeting so everybody can take a look at it if you want. It's a fairly large document that I'll be able to possibly give you as a link so that you can take a look at it, and I'll explain further on where that link is going to be when I do some more information on the agenda for tonight. Item 5 is just information regarding a public hearing that was held on Monday, December 28th at the City Council meeting in regards to the creation of city ordinance to ban single-use plastic straws in the city of Revere. I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to see that meeting. That council meeting was a public hearing. I had gone up as on behalf of the Commission on Disabilities for Revere and also the disabled community, not only for Revere, but of neighboring disabled residents. And this is something that is in the forefront, not only in Revere, Massachusetts, throughout the United States, but also globally. There's been a big push for people to ban plastic straws, single-use plastic straws. And unfortunately, when people go ahead and think of this legislation and want to ban it, they don't take in consideration the disabled communities and what impacts this has on people with certain disabilities or certain children on the autism spectrum. In relations to children with different sensory situations. So I had gone up, I had read a letter into the public hearing, and I also had read a letter from Michelle DeBellis because she could not be there that night. So she had given me a letter that I had read into the record that night, and there is now going to be another meeting with Legislative Affairs on Monday, I believe this upcoming Monday, I think it's the 18th, at 5 p.m. with Legislative Affairs. So it's going to go in front of them, and I'll go up again there to voice my opinion that they should not be banning single-use plastic straws. Some states that have banned them, such as California and whatnot, they had put a stipulation in that restaurants can have them on site for the disabled community that ask for them. But what happens is this is a stigmatism, and the disabled community don't feel like they should have to ask for them. Because it's almost like a discriminatory for them to ask for them. And basically, they are looked at as they are harming the environment when they're looking for them. And in relationships through my letter, I had given the statistics on what plastic straws basically add into the tonnage of ocean plastic waste there's 9 million tons of ocean plastic waste. Out of the 9 million, only 2,000 tons of it is from single-use plastic straws. Yes, 2,000 tons is a lot, but there's other areas that they should be looking at before they go ahead and ban plastic straws. And I also had criteria, because people will say, well, there's other straws that can be used, such as paper, bamboo, metal, and there's all statistics as to why those are not good for disabled residents and children with different types of autistic spectrums. So if anybody would like to come to that legislative affairs meeting, I'd appreciate it. All the support we could get to stop the banning of single-use plastic straws would be greatly appreciated. I know in states that they have banned it, they are now looking at repealing it, and the disabled community is possibly looking at taking legal action on them, such as in California, and especially in Europe and some other countries that have banned them, because there was no one that sat down and thought about the disabled community before they went ahead and did that. So I don't know if anybody has any comments or any questions on that, and I'm willing to answer it. And I put a lot of information on the other hat, the Commission on Disabilities Facebook page. I did some research on it. I didn't just go ahead and just throw some numbers and let it stick. So if anybody has any questions, comments, I know Pauline, you probably have some great insight on this, and your knowledge, you probably know a lot more than me on this, so.
It's not a lot more, but it's in a different venue. When you start to look at the use of plastic straws, especially, let's talk children first. So we have children as a whole population, disabled, not disabled, but children as a population. Look at the schools. What are they planning to do in that case? How many times have people worked with children who have special needs, whatever the special need is, and that child cannot handle holding a carton? Even if someone holds it for them, it's still an issue. So is that person viewed as, oh, well, you know, you'll have to find another way to do this? So I think that plastic straws have been around for many, 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 many years. This is nothing new. The use of paper straws, while it's a wonderful idea, you have children who need to get out their anxiety, get out their frustration, and they chew on the plastic as a means of bringing themselves back down and regrounding. So if you have those kids chewing on paper straws, that becomes an issue, a choking hazard, and what are we going to be up against then? Go into the metal straws, you're going to have the kids puncturing their tongues, their cheeks. So again, looking at it from both a parent perspective, a school nurse perspective, a regular nurse perspective, a para that has worked special ed, and just someone who, I know my kids use straws and they have for a number of years. We're very conscientious about where they're dumped. Maybe people need to take a step back and start looking at maybe a little bit more personal responsibility in that venue as well. So that's just the child piece of it. But yes, as you were speaking, I'm going to try to put it on my calendar to attend that meeting.
Yeah, the meeting's at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
It's right here up at City Hall. If anybody has a chance, they could just, on the page, I have it queued up to the letter that I read to it, instead of me rereading the letter here that I have. But I also can email the letter to anybody if they want to read it, my letter, along with Michelle DeBellis' letter that we read in front of the council.
Pauline, those were incredible points. I was going to say, well, not as eloquently as you put it, but the same exact thing. I mean, I have 2 kids with autism, and even my son's 24. He just can't do the paper straws, and it's a sensory thing. And what happened was a couple of weeks ago, we were out, and the restaurant gave him a paper straw, and he couldn't do it. He had to take it out, but it must have been like a 26-ounce tumbler. So he's trying to hold it, take a sip, and what happens? It's all over him. Yeah, the paper straws. I mean, this is just, I don't know, this is the far, and I hate to talk politics, Mr. Chairperson, but the far left is getting out of control. I know we have to save the environment, and we're doing everything we can, but at what point do we say, okay, let's ban plastic straws, but put some modifications in place. Ban plastic straws, but if you have a sensory issue, put, clause A, B, C, D, if you want to do that. You just can't just outright satisfy a few and many have to suffer because a few have it on their agenda. I just think it's irresponsible. So I will be there with you Monday. And if you'd like me to speak, Mr. Chairperson, I'm more than happy to.
Thank you. I just wanted to make one other point too, is a lot of the communities that are going ahead and trying to ban the plastic straws, they say, well, we have, I forget the word that they're using, I'm drawing a blank right now, but we have clauses in it that there's exceptions, but it doesn't matter. You can't have it with exceptions, because when you have it with exceptions, the restaurants are not going to carry them. You can't have exceptions. It's straight out, you don't ban plastic straws. That's it, regardless. You don't need someone who's disabled that is depending on plastic straws to worry about if they're going to a restaurant with their family, if they go there, if there's going to be a plastic straw there for them or not. That's not one thing that they need to worry about. They have to worry about other things in their life. That's something that they don't need to worry about. So I'm sorry that if I come off strong on it, but there's other areas that they can work on and not have to ban plastic straws. All you have to do is the restaurant, yes, there's a big waste in them. Just have the restaurants, don't put them in every drink. When you go out to drink, just don't put them in every drink. Ask the people if they want a straw. Don't have to tell the person, well, when you go to a restaurant, can I have a straw? Just ask them if they would like a straw. That's it. Just don't put them in every drink when they serve them at the tables. That will save on the environment. That's all that needs to be done.
The same people banning straws are the same nuts that want to, we can't do the cows because the cows are giving off methane gases. You can't fly the plane because it's polluting the air. Enough is enough. It is, come on.
Anyone else have any other comments or anything?
Yeah, I do, Ralph. I saw the meeting the other night with you, protesting it. You did a great job, as usual. But on a disabled side of it, you're asking them to ask for a straw as a disabled person. It's like they're outcasting disabled, and that's not right. Exactly.
Anyone else have any comments or?
A lot of passion on the straws here, Mr. Chairperson.
This is what happens. A lot of people, it's not just Revere, it's every place that's trying to ban this. They're not thinking what this can do to different types of people, disabled people or elderly or whatnot. I'm going to quote somebody on the council. This is a feel-good ban, not a feel-good motion. This is a feel-good ban. It's all,
That's all it is.
Sorry. Yeah.
We don't want to be like New York. They're going to start banning this, then they're going to start banning plastic bottles, and then cups, and then you can't have more than a 16-ounce drink. Enough is enough.
We've already done bags.
Yeah. All right. The bags, I understand. They're everywhere. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for letting us,
And Ralph, I will be there Monday.
Thank you for your support. Okay, next on the agenda. Hey, Mr. Chico, how you doing in the audience? I know it was standing room, huh? You had to wait for a seat. I understand. Item 6 is just an update on information regarding Pauline Perno's action item pertaining to pedestrian crosswalks. So I'm going to let Pauline talk on this. I know she's been having some discussions with Julie DeMauro.
Thank you very much. So I did have a conversation with Julie today. This is an issue that has been kind of brewing in my head since somewhere around April, May, where I've noticed a lot of people trying to cross the streets, especially I take the beach a lot because of where I live. And I've noticed that because of the way people are parking, that there have been issues where people are already in the crosswalk, you're slamming your foot on the brake, people in back of you are almost hitting you, and it becomes a chain reaction type thing. So I really kind of looked further as to were there any instances of anything in particular. And so as the summer really was in full swing. I saw a lot more of it. I did see a couple of near misses. One was in a motorized scooter. One was a child who did bolt away from their parents, who almost got hit. And so with that said, I felt it was really important to take a look at what signals are in place, what safeguards are in place on our crosswalks here within the city. Also, having kids in the school system, watching, I don't even know how many crosswalks I go over in the course of a day, but noticing that there are a lot more kids, students that are walking with headphones on that are not also paying attention. So with that said, as we've transitioned out of summer and quickly into what it feels like winter, with the construction vehicles, that has brought up yet another issue because of the way that they're parked on the beach. They're parked so, they're huge anyway, most of the construction vehicles, and they're parked so close to the sidewalks and to the crosswalks that you cannot visualize a person who is trying to cross the street. With that said, I felt it was very important to reach out to Julie, knowing that we have some major barriers, and the first one is, these are mostly state roads that we're talking about. So I did have a conversation with her this morning, and she was actually going to look into a couple of different avenues and things that she wanted to find out, you know, who best to contact at, whether it was MassDOT or whether it was DCR, those kinds of issues. She did take a ride up the beach, and as I was saying, please don't drive up the beach today, because there was nobody on the beach. She was on the beach, and there were no cars. So it was really a fine way to see where the crosswalks were placed, and her answer to me was that, yes, the crosswalks are appropriately flagged. However, flagged or not, unless you have something, and my whole thing was, there are flashing beacons that are motion and sensor indicated, and they flash on both sides of the streets, not just the right if someone's coming off the right side to go to the left, but they'll flash on both sides, illuminating both incoming and ongoing traffic as well as both sides of the street. Figuring that maybe, you know, everyone has to take a step back, everyone has to take a minute as a driver, and I've been on both sides. I've been a driver, I've been a pedestrian, I've been on both of those avenues, and for me, I just wait until there are absolutely no cars in view. I don't see that as appropriate a lot of times. Sometimes it's just simply someone trying to cross the street to get to their car, or trying to get over to the state police, or even trying to get to the T station. So I think that a lot more information needs to come to light as far as what are the safeguards that we can look at. I know that Julie did go up Ocean Avenue, and because of the congestion and the construction, and because it's only one traffic width, but still, I've been a pedestrian down there as well. And it's in my estimation, it's not a safe area. There are some, you know, the construction is going to be ongoing. I don't see a clear end date in sight for any of that. So with that said, I think that as the winter approaches, as we have snow removal, that will certainly be upon us soon, I'm sure, and construction vehicles on top of it, I do see that there's going to have to be much more information addressed to this issue. I am very strong about this because I've seen too many near misses. I've been involved in a near miss myself, and I was only going about 7 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. And it was either me hit the person or me getting hit. Thank goodness neither one of those actions happened. So extra hypervigilance on the part of a driver and the pedestrian, but I think that a lot more information, there has to be more communication done between the state side and the city side to address this. It's happened out here on Broadway, it's happened on the beach, it's happened in all the school zones. So it's happening more and more and more as you increase your population, both walking, riding, taking the bus, taking a bike. It's going to happen more and more.
In, you know, as you started the conversations with Julie, now this is going to be an ongoing, like you mentioned, she's going to be contacting DCR or DOT and...
Yes, she's not sure. She said that some of her communications have been with Mass Department of Transportation, which have spawned out better for her than, say, DCR, and she's not sure which venue she's going to have to pick away at. So this is going to be an ongoing process with her, and as she's doing planning and in doing some actual work on the roadways with people, with the state, she'll have at least more of an input as to all of this. I mean, temporary sidewalks are great, temporary crosswalks are great, but unless there's an illumination, I don't care how many feet, I just don't see that as the end-all be-all. I think that there should be a next step to all of this. At least try it as a pilot, put it in 3 different areas of the city, one on the beach, one downtown, and one in West Revere. See if it works, see if there's any additional input, see if drivers find it too distracting, find it a helpful thing, try it. You're not gonna know. You can't say it's not going to be helpful unless you try it.
I know that new type of signalization is supposed to be going at Revere Street near Blanchard's there. As we went to last meeting, depending on if the weather holds out. Right now, the state is as far as the fish market, doing the curb cuts there, and there's a whole signalization that's supposed to be coming at the Revere Street Squire. I still call it Squire Road, but it's Route 60 there. So the signalization is going there.
It should be very interesting to see how that plays out during the morning commute with the kids crossing, because you've got them crossing this way, you've got them crossing this way and this way. So it should be very, very interesting to see how the signalization actually works in conjunction with the pedestrian and the foot traffic that it's going to both Rumney and the high school and over to Lincoln.
Yeah. Anyone have any questions regarding what Pauline's been working on? And she'll stay in touch with Julie and keep us up to date on that. Thank you, Pauline, for taking care of that. Next I have is a late item. Basically what I have is I just want to keep everybody updated on what I've been working on with Ruben Cantor and for the Commission on Disabilities. We are one step closer to having our handicap applications and our survey set up on the computer on the Commission on Disabilities page electronically, so people will be able to go in there and fill it out electronically and it won't be paper copies. I also have set up what's called, there's a program in the cloud called Laserfiche. So all our documents now are all going to be going in the cloud Laserfiche. So I've been starting to put everything into there. All the handicap applications that I have, copies of that in there. Any letters that I get from DCR or the AAB, which is the Architectural Access Board, for any variances, one that they notify. I get notified along with the building department. So instead of me keeping paper copies, what I will be doing is scanning them, and they'll be going into there. There'll be all files for that. It's called Laserfiche. So there's a Commission on Disabilities folder on the Laserfiche in the cloud in the city site. So everything will be going in there electronically. So I just have to start moving all my files for all the handicap applications that I have. What I've been doing since I started is once I get the paper copies from the residents, I've been manually scanning them in and saving them on files on the laptop. So now what I'm going to be doing is getting those and transferring them over to Laserfiche folders. I believe I have 6 different Laserfiche folders. I have one for handicap applications. I'll have one for the surveys. I have one for DCR documents, one for MBTA documents, because I've been doing things for those. And there's a couple of other folders that I also have on there, so that everything is in one place. It'll be easily accessible, and we will no longer have to keep any paper copies of everything. It's gonna take a little time. And then also what happens is with the Laserfiche is they are also in the process of the Laserfiche has a program that they have. I want to get the correct word on it for you. There's a template, Laserfiche templates. So what these are is I can go in and there's certain templates that criteria that I can pull any type of information I want and get it. So what's going to be helpful is I'll use the handicap applications as an example. what I'm going to be starting to do with Sergeant Janino now is we're going to be going through the city and documenting every single handicap sign that's out there. So, because there's a lot of signs that are not on the books. And once those are all documented and there's some signs that are not legally up there, we'll be pulling them down. So then what we do is we have all the applications in Laserfiche, so we will be able to flag them for every 2 years that they have to resubmit to reapply for the handicap application. So we'll know which ones are expiring, which ones we have to contact them, and we'll have an easier tracking mechanism on knowing which ones are expired and which ones can come down. So it's going to make it a lot easier to track everything. So it's been a long time coming, and it's really good that the city is moving this way to do everything that way. So once it's all done, then on a Friday, anybody can come by, and it's still a little bit of ways because I have a lot of files to move over. So once we have everything there, I'll be able to show it to you, and it's in the cloud, so it's a lot easier. So anyone have any questions on that?
Sounds good, Mr. Chairperson.
I don't know if anyone else had any late items that they wanted to talk about. Do you have anything? Nobody had anything to mention? That was basically that was the only late item I wanted to talk about, was how we're going to have everything moving to electronically get done. One second. Okay, since the open forum, which was item 8, any residents' concerns or ongoing issues, operations, or feedback, we could probably skip that one. So the next steps is basically, actually I do have one more that I'm thinking of. I actually have another meeting scheduled for this week that I wanted to update you on, since we were talking about signalization. I have a meeting about the signalization upgrade from Broadway to Brown Circle scheduled for this Friday. So I'll have some information on that for the next meeting. So I wanted to let you know on that. So that's the first step of the city that's going to be getting for the new upgraded signalization. So I'll be able to give you some more information at the next meeting. I knew there was one more thing that I had to tell you about late item. Is that email came to me before our meeting tonight. Okay. So the next steps is I'll inform you on that for the signalization upgrade project for my meeting this week. Pauline, if you have any more information about the crosswalks, you can keep us up to date on that, and I will also update you how we make out with the transition plan, if we can get that over to the state, and this way everybody can take a look at that. Item 10, I will ask my vice chair if he could read that for me.
Oh, Mr. Chairperson. Let's see, the Commission on Disabilities has office hours on Fridays from 8:15 to 12:15 p.m. in the Veterans Service Office in the rear of the Legion Building at 249R Broadway, which is next door to City Hall. You can call for an appointment if you would like, but do not need one. You'll be able to talk to someone from our 311 Constituent Service Center on other days when you call our office at 781-286-8267. They will be able to answer most questions, but if they are unable to, or if you like a call back from our office, they can transfer you to the disability office's voicemail, and someone will get back to you as soon as they can. Also, please let us know if you would like something discussed or brought up and added to our monthly meeting agenda. You can let us know if you would like to come and speak on any issue or concern. The Commission is here to help and assist all the disabled residents and families of Revere. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
And second?
Second.
And seconded by Albert. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 10th at 6 p.m. Before we adjourn, I just wanted to wish everyone at the end of this month to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Also, is it Friday definitely, or is it Saturday?
Friday night, Mr. Chairperson.
The Revere High.
Friday night at Melrose Stadium, 7 o'clock, 9-0 Revere at 9-0 Melrose. The winner goes to Gillette Stadium for the Super Bowl.
Good luck to the Revere High School Patriots.
Good luck, Patriots. Coach Chick, he's got that team going strong.
Going strong.
I predict a victory Friday night, Mr. Chairperson.
So all keeping our fingers and toes crossed.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Huge. He just walked by. We went to Rite Aid.
Yeah.